Okay, so I wanted to make the first video a brief introduction on how to have a more enjoyable life with your dog. Our philosophy is all about freedom, fulfillment, and taking away the constant stress of fighting with your dog on a walk. So the first part is going to be play. So play is arguably the most important part of our philosophy because at the moment, if you have a reactive dog, they're probably getting their kicks, getting their fulfillment from barking at other dogs. So if we're going to be suppressing that side to them, it's really important that we allow that fulfillment that they're currently getting from barking at other dogs to leak out somewhere else. It's really important that we give them a positive outlet to get this through. So we use play. Now, first of all, it's important to remember that your dog is a predator. He might be a small, fluffy, cute predator, but he is a predator, and they naturally use play to rehearse hunting like behavior. So it's important that your play is competitive. So that's why we often like to use a tug toy to play, as it allows some sort of competitive aspect between you and the dog. It's important that that play has boundaries on it, however. But for the most part, we want the dog to be feeling like they're winning the game. So we like to use a 55-45 split. So your dog should be winning most of the time. So we want lots of theatrics with this as well. So when we're playing tug with them, we want to make it, even if they've got a soft mouth and we only have to shake it a little bit, and we want the dog to, as soon as you feel a little bit of pullback, oh, he's won the game, he's so strong. And that brings us on to the second most important part of this, which is we need to use a lead when we're playing with the dog. So it's really important that to continue the active participation from the dog, we have a lead on and we're able to reel them back to you and restart the game. We want the dog to think the most exciting part of the game is when you re-engage and the tug toy becomes active again, it becomes live again. So we want tension on the tug toy, tension on the tug toy. Oh, they've won, they're so strong, you need to move away, reel the dog back in, and then we're going to play again. Okay, so it's really important that it's competitive. So often in the beginning part, dogs might be a bit reluctant to play, and you might be thinking, my dog won't play tug with me, and that's often the case. However, in this process, in this part of the process, sorry, it's really important that we have a management system to stop the dog from getting their fulfillment at other places. So that might be picking up the toys that are just already lying around on the floor, and that might be stopping the dog from rehearsing his reactivity that he's currently getting his fulfillment out of at other dogs. So even if that's, you have to hide behind a car at this stage of the process, or go somewhere where he's not able to rehearse that whilst we're building up this play. So we've got a management system, and we know to make the play competitive and to give them lots of wins. But how do we actually cultivate the motivation from the dog? So if you think of your dog's motivation to play on a graph, like so. Sorry, I'll do that a bit better. So this indicates your dog's drive to play, okay? It's really important that you get a good understanding of where your dog's extinction point lies. So on this graph, it's here. On some, your dog might be here, or they might be here. But at some point, your dog's going to have an extinction point as to where they're not interested in the play anymore. So we need to finish the game before the extinction point, okay? So we need to finish it before it happens. We want the dog to be thinking, I wish I'd have just bit that tug a little bit harder, I'd pulled a little bit harder, so that the game could have carried on, so that the next time when you bring out the toy, they're just even more excited to play. So it's really important that we have a good understanding of our extinction point. We make the play competitive. we give them lots of wins, and we have a good management system in place, and we always use a lead during play, especially in the early stages. So I'm going to add some clips of some of my clients playing with their dogs, and I'll add some of me playing with my dog. And again, these clients have only done maybe a couple of sessions on this, and their dog didn't want to play before. But it's important that when we play, it doesn't have to be any sort of fancy Malinois tricks or anything like that, but it needs to be competitive, and it needs to have some sort of boundaries in place. It's important that we're able to still have some element of control to the dog in a high arousal situation. And that's what this does for us, so that when they see a trigger, they see the dog, we've rehearsed this lots and lots of times, that through play, we've rehearsed being in a high arousal state and being able to follow some rules and boundaries in the play. So, there we are.
Yay! Good.
That's it. So reel him in. Vince has won it. Go ahead and stop. That's it.
Good boy. Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Good boy, man. Yes. Good boy. Let's go. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Come on. Good boy. Good boy, brother. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Good boy. Let's go.
Okay, so the next part is having a good marker system. So today I'm probably just going to talk about one marker that we use, our main marker, which is our terminal marker. So often we use the word yes, but I will make probably another video on diving deeper into some of our other markers and why it's really important that we have a good marker system in general. But today we're just going to look at our what's called terminal marker. And basically what that means is that, well done, you've done that right, come and get a reward off me. Okay, so when we deliver our terminal marker, which is yes, it's really important when delivering the marker, it's always marker before action. Okay, so always a marker first. So when we deliver the reward, we deliver the food payment, it always goes yes, then hand in the pocket, then deliver the marker. Okay, this is really, really important, as if not, I'll dive into this in another video, but it will cause you some problems down the road. And we don't want our dog to, if we need to use our marker from a distance, for example, and we say yes, but we've accidentally made our marker hand in the pocket, then the dog's not going to understand it because he's all the way over there and he hasn't seen a hand in our pocket. And also, if we were going to give a different marker, we were going to give our duration marker, then our dog might automatically break his down, for example, come to us because our hand's in our pocket and he thinks our marker is hand in the pocket. So it's really important that we slow this right down, and we always do marker, then action. So that might feel uncomfortable at first, it might feel unnatural because everyone wants to do it super, super quick, put a hand in the pocket, deliver the marker. But it needs to be yes, hand in the pocket, deliver the food. Okay, so how do we deliver the marker, or how do we deliver the payment, the food reward? So it's really important that if we want to cultivate some drive from the dog, we want to make the payment variable. So if you think about a dog's drive as a dopamine rush, then it's important that the dog has some sort of anticipation of what might come. So if we're just delivering, yes, one piece of food, yes, one piece of food, yes, one piece of food, the dog's going to pretty quickly get bored of it because he's going to know what's coming every time. Okay. However, if you think about, for example, if you think about a gambling addict, the reason they do that is because they might win 10 grand. We want the dog to think, this time I might get a jackpot, I might get multiple payments in a row. Or this time the food might be lured out and I've got to chase the food. Okay. So ways we can do that is delivering a jackpot payment. So this is basically more than one treat. However, dogs learn better from duration over intensity. So what I would do with this is take some food. So you've given the marker, yes, take some food out, and we're gonna pay, as we keep moving backwards, pay, rather than just give it all at once. So occasionally we're gonna jackpot pay the dog. Also, what we can do is we can lure the dog. So the dog might come in, you might have the food in your hand and they're going to chase it this way. And then you're going to switch directions and then they'll chase it this way and then feed the dog. We want them to think, what's going to happen next? Am I going to get a jackpot payment? Am I going to have to chase the food? And this is how we give a bigger dopamine rush for the dog. So it's important that when we're charging our marker, that we always start with paying the dog every time. Okay, so it's going to look like this. So we deliver our marker, which is yes. Sometimes we might have one piece of food. Sometimes we might have jackpot payment. Sometimes we might have a lure. So this might happen, and this might happen for the first 20 times that you deliver the marker. So yes, move. So also we need to move back when we give the marker. So move back. Okay, so we want them to chase you for the marker. So yes, move back, hand in the pocket, one piece of food. So that might happen for the first 20 times that we deliver the marker. Then it might do the occasional jackpot. So that might happen. We might say yes, payment, yes, payment. The next time, yes, jackpot pay. And then we might go back to yes, payment. And then the next time we might come in and we might say yes, and we lure the dog round, have him chase it for a little bit, and then go back to this. Really important, like we said, variable. So again, I will put in a couple of little clips of clients doing some terminal markers. Again, I'm not very good at shooting videos, so there's only a few little ones, and again, these are from people that I've only done a few sessions with me. So, but you'll see the idea of a marker system, and it comes in so quickly to the dog as long as we're consistently practicing it. And if you're going to practice something, this is one of the most important things to practice, then the dog will get it very, very quickly.
Yes.
Okay, so last of all, we're going to look at punishment. Now, I know it looks like a scary word, punishment. However, it is really, really important that if we're going to allow our dogs some freedom, because ultimately we want our dogs to be dogs, it's really, really important that we can tell them what not to do. Because if we can only ever tell the dog what to do, that then limits their world, and their world becomes a lot smaller very, very quickly. If our dog's only allowed to walk next to us and we can pay them for walking next to us, that's fine, but they'd much rather be off chasing birds and doing other stuff. If we're able to tell the dog, hey, don't go and do that, but we can do anything else, then it allows our dog much more freedom. So if we want to give our dog freedom and fulfillment, then it's important that we can tell them what not to do. Okay. So if you imagine that we have a field here, okay, and excuse my rubbish drawings, but there might be a road over here. This is you with your dog, and here's your dog playing. Okay, and there's another person over here with their dog, and there's some trees over here, and there's some birds over here. Cool. So if we have a dog and say that he's a reactive dog, and as we've already discussed, reactive dogs often get their fulfillment through barking at other dogs. Okay, so the thing he most would want to do there, because it's where he currently practices his fulfillment, is going and barking at the dog. Okay, so the thing he wants to do the most, number one, is go and bark at the dog. The second most likely thing he might want to do is to go and chase the birds. Okay, so let's put that number 2, chase birds. And then number 3, he might want to go and piss up the tree. So let's put tree. And then after that, he might want to stay next to you. Okay, let's put heel. You might want to heel next to you. Okay, so more than likely, if we want to give your dog some fulfillment and allow him to be a dog, he might want to go and his main point of interest at the minute is bark at the dog. Is bark at the dog. Then he might want to go and chase the birds, and then piss up the tree, and then come and walk next to you. This is his least favorite thing. So if we want to give him some fulfillment and make some of your reactivity training sustainable, it's important that, like we discussed with the play, we give him an outlet. Now, if we are able to punish the dog and say, hey, we can't go and do this, so we're not going to go and bark at the dogs, okay, then it allows your dog to do his second most favorite thing, which is chase the birds, because he's not going to catch it anyway, and his third most favorite thing, which is piss up the tree, and then he can do his fourth favorite thing if he wants to, but more than likely he can still go and chase the birds and he can piss up the tree and get some fulfillment and allow him to be a dog and live a better life. Now, if we weren't able to punish the dog and say, hey, don't go and bark at that dog, then we can't tell him that this is still okay and this is still okay, because we're then only able to pay him in position. So he'd only be able to do his fourth favorite thing, which is walk next to you. And suddenly that dog's world becomes a hell of a lot smaller than he can do everything else other than that. So if we have the ability to say, hey, don't go and bark at the dog, and probably don't run across the road either, but we can do anything else, suddenly our dog's world becomes a lot bigger and we get a lot more freedom. So this is why I really advocate for tools such as the e-collar, and why I strongly believe that they shouldn't be a last resort for dogs. If anything, they should be one of the first things we do for our dogs, because it allows far more freedom and therefore far more fulfillment. So if we're able to say, hey, don't go and do that, but do everything else, then our dog's going to live a far more fulfilled lifestyle. However, it's really important that we get this punishment right and we get it at the right intensity and the right timing. So make sure you go and see a trainer to get this in place. to make it sustainable for the dog in the future. So I hope some of this has been useful for you guys, and hopefully help you enjoy a more happy, enjoyable life with your dog, and walks where you don't have to constantly fight against them. But if you found some of this useful, then please follow along, as hopefully there will be lots more content on the way. Thank you.